I'm sure most people following That First Heard remember Amber Heard on the stand saying her dog stepped on a bee. Now, we got a lot of memes, it was a viral moment, but I think most people didn't think too hard about it and said, well, it's kind of funny and everything, but it's one of those silly little details. This person here argues it was pretty relevant and important, and the argument, I think, is pretty good. This site's called Cura. I check it once in a while. It's kind of like Reddit, and the person starts with this. Why was Amber Heard telling a story about how her dog stepped on a bee? How is that relevant to their case? According to the behavior panel on YouTube, when people lie, they tend to give too many details. Now, that's a great point. I never quite said that here. When you tell a lie, what you want to do is add details to make it seem like you're remembering the truth because you remember these detailed things. I mean, she was saying this in the stand, but I can't recall her saying any kind of outcome. My dog's leg was hurt, it screamed in pain, maybe it killed the bee, maybe it was protecting Amber from the bee, and it was a hero dog. I don't know. Seems like a random detail she threw out there. Or maybe it happened at some other time. Of the four, three have military background and one works with the Royals. At the end of their third episode on Amber, it was suggested that she could be telling true events on the witness stand. However, given her body language, repeated gaps in memory, and pronoun mistakes, it was concluded that she was the attacker and was attempting to tell the event from Johnny's perspective. Another interesting thing, I've touched upon this too. Maybe she was telling true events. People were in those places at that time, but what she's saying happened didn't quite happen like that. So if you get my drift, you could like half tell the truth because half of it is true. She had some encounters with Johnny that got physical, but they weren't exactly like she said, according to the court, the evidence, and what we've learned. She could say, well, we were near the staircase, we were here in Australia, we were driving in the car, and get certain facts right that are true. But those wouldn't be the important facts. Those would just be, you could say, technical facts, neutral kind of facts. So as violent abuser, who was the domestic violence representative for the ACLU, set before herself a very difficult task. She needed to give sworn testimony to the events from the perspective of the person she despised and was attacking. My personal 2 cents, I'm not sure she despised Johnny necessarily. I think it was more like she was an opportunist in that relationship. I'm just imagining if the chance came up where she could have had somebody to marry on Johnny's same level, she probably would have done it. But like I said, just my 2 cents, my opinion. The problem is, when she was recalling striking, she would blank out and not remember where her and Johnny's bodies were after the impact. Dramatic buildup, the blow, and I can't remember how he was holding me after the blow. And she would forget and slip into the pleasure of her memory of attacking Johnny. Her pulled back lip, exposed teeth, would quickly become pitiful. Oddly, she wouldn't lower her face, but raise her chin, so her facial Olympics were on display. Nice description there. She's committed to the ruse, though. I think she enjoyed the character she played when she first met and married Johnny. Well, let's just say Johnny. I guess that was a typo. Living it, discarding it to begin her abuse, and then pulling it on again to testify for the third court case is just something she could not pull off. Lots of lying, really obvious lying, and details she couldn't be able to remember, house decor, and dogs and bees. She's not convincing at all. She doesn't know everyone knows. It's really sad and funny. The faces she makes trying to be authentic are really weird, so TikTok. I left a public remark and she's diabolical, but dumber than a rock. Take care. I gotta note, this thing has over 100,000 views, which is pretty decent. So obviously, the main point to take away here that I noticed right away is the part about making things up when you lie as far as small details. It kind of gives the illusion that you were there, because if you weren't, how could you remember such a small detail? But it doesn't mean that detail is true. So let's see what some people said about this. And Natalie says, You all know we have a dumbass fixation with this. I replied to a post on Tuesday just mentioning how fed up I was with seeing Amber's twisted face, and somebody recently replied with that in their comment, along with us being called brainlets. Some people just don't like others having an opinion on anything. And Thomas replies, I'm sorry, but there is nothing dumbass about our fixation with this trial. We are all witnessing, for the first time in my memory, a malignant narcissist being dissected and exposed to the world. It is both fascinating and extremely satisfying. Thank you, Mr. Depp. Yeah, I try to tell people who say it's too much, leave Amber alone, what's going on here? It's been years. This is really an historical event. This is something that's never happened, and it goes far beyond the personal level in a lot of cases. Daniel says, I wouldn't say too many details, but I would add too many irrelevant details as a way to move focus from one subject to another. Another good point. You might want to take focus off of what you're trying to say, trying to prove. So maybe the jurors' minds kind of wander a little bit and maybe focus on you as a person and not actually the facts and what's true or not. The not remembering is absolutely not definitive proof that she is lying. People often disassociate when living in traumatic situations. People took Depp's side long before Amber could even testify. She's going against a tidal wave. I personally don't know who's guilty. I want to say both. So who had Amber's side the whole time? Oh, I don't know. Warner Brothers, Disney, the mainstream media, that kind of thing. I mean, those people up there who actually own the platforms have more pull than the fans. The fans have a certain type of pull, but it's different. So it's not really fair to say that all the support was on Johnny's side. Obviously, there was massive organic support from the fans, but they can't change headlines. They can't keep Johnny working in the franchises. That's for the people on the upper ends to do. So I just gotta say, I think they went to court fair and square. And Pinar says, what a misogynist, shallow comment. All of you, including the jury, are brainwashed by the social media. What's the social media? Do you mean social media? And Dan, under here, links to Pinar 7 times Amber Heard lied under oath, which is undisputable. And I don't see how it's misogynistic, talking about memory, making up details, and trying to fool people. That's pretty much across the board something all human beings do. But some people have to try to make it about gender, about man versus woman, to kind of use a blunt weapon on the argument, not get down to facts and critical thinking. Of course, let me know what you think down below, doing shoutouts, special thanks, things like that. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. You'll get stuff like this. I have a nicer shirt on than usual this time. I've got a bad wardrobe, but that's irrelevant. And it's not a lie, it's totally true. Alright, we're done here. See you next time.